Reflecting on your time in the CEO role, what are the 2 key learnings and insights you have gained about maintaining healthy and productive relationship with your board and chairperson?
First of all, Chair and CEO must be aligned, okay, and this is professionally, but it's also from a humanistic perspective as well. It's aligned to values and it's in line to intrinsic values. So it's integrity, it's being brutally honest, it's being forthright, it's being on purpose, it's passion, it's creativity, it's logical, rational, it's a whole mix of things. So the chair is, and I work with a fabulous chair, Jo Quinn, and we've got a really strong relationship and it's based on trust. So that's number 1, okay? And the trust is maintained because you show integrity and display that with every decision that you make. So the chair then represents the CEO and backs the CEO at the board level. And it's really important to have parameters around discussions, that it's important to have robust discussions, that you don't just talk about the good things, you own the bad stuff as well, and you're really honest. As long as you're not putting a negative leadership, that you're putting a proactive, positive leadership on the problems. So you always focus on positive outcomes. It comes down to attitude as well. So the chair and the CEO, we're very much aligned. We both have the same values or similar values, and we really drive that with all our decisions.
One is, I think it is really important, probably even more important in the for-purpose world, to be clear about what is expected of the board. So clarity of what is it that you actually want, both from the chair and the chief executive in terms of contribution and responsibility. And I think the related point is really working to engage the board in what you do.
Definitely open communication. If you don't have continuous and open communication, then the relationships fail. There's no doubt about that. And I think also a mutual respect both ways. The board respecting the work that is carried on, not only just at an executive level, but also at a grassroots level. And also respect goes the other way as well, making sure that we have a board that has the necessary skills and the abilities analytically to understand what we're doing and to intersect strategically at a level that is useful for the organisation and the management.
It is very important to understand that I ran my own business and built up a successful business. I was not accountable to anybody. Starting OzHarvest and bringing a board on was an enormous challenge for me. I'd never been accountable. It was an incredibly interesting transition to really being employed or taking on a role that I needed to engage with a board of management. The best advice I give any new entrepreneur, any new founder of any organization, or anyone who talks to me, is a strong level of communication is enormously important. Choosing the board with care is very important. When I started, I didn't even really understand the role of a board. So that I had to learn along the way. And I think making sure that there is an information flow all the time. My board are absolutely fantastic if they are getting information. When they don't know what's happening, that's when it causes angst. So I think information and communication are the 2 most important things. And having a chair and support, of course. The board is there, I believe, not just to be yes people, but to be supportive. So support means that they intrinsically believe in the goals of the organization. Once you have that, then you build on what the organization needs to do and how best to achieve that.
The number 1 priority is communication. So you've got to have regular communication with your board. You have to have a clear reporting mechanism so that you can actually show them that you're addressing the issues, that you're tracking positively in relation to executing the strategies, and then you need to have regular engagement with them, and particularly if you're successful at getting them working for you in terms of delivering the strategies. It's like any relationship, you've got to spend time with your chair. You've got to make sure that there's a strong alignment between the organizational direction and your chair vision. You need to build trust, and which comes from achieving result, but also from taking enough time to, have ongoing, nurturing session with your chair. So in my case, we meet at least once a month, if not more. Some of that is, formal preparation of board papers, board agenda, and all that. And some of it is just getting to know each other, bring in issues that I need to bring to him. And over the years, it's really become a good partnerships where, clarity of thoughts, clarity of how the board is performing. We can share on any issues, and the chairman is really there to support the CEO, but also flag to the board that if the performance is not there, then he needs to address it with the CEO as well. The chair is critical because the chair drives the board, and I think the partnership within the CEO and the chair is of critical importance.
It's interesting, in previous roles, when I haven't been CEO, I've worked with a number of CEOs that have had quite adversarial relationships with their boards, and perhaps done their best to channel the flow of information to the board to suit their own purposes, shall you put it that way. I therefore took a very firm determination that that's not the path that I would pursue. So I've worked really hard to try and make sure that the flow of information to the board is open and uncensored, and is very much improved in terms of quality since I've been in this role. And I also tend to really look upon the board as partners in the enterprise. In terms of my chair, it's really interesting. In various roles I've worked with a whole range of different chairs, but in this role it's actually the first time I've worked with a female chair. And that's a new experience for me, and it's just interesting looking at the differences there. But again, if the CEO and the board are partners, then the CEO and the chair must be the supreme partners.
If you've got a good chairperson, lock them down and don't let them leave the room. I think a good chair's just so vital in setting the tone of the board, a culture of engagement, and I think particularly in non-profit boards where you're likely to have a mix of skills and backgrounds, the whole process of engagement and team building and being explicit around engaging the board, being clear about what's expected, that happens when you've got a really good chair who does a good job of that, and I think that's deeply, deeply important.